welcome to Forsyth County's newest elementary school and building, yet one of the oldest schools, Midway Elementary School. We're so proud of it. Midway has been a pillar of our community since 1961, but after numerous renovations and additions, a new building was needed. Thanks to the Forsyth County voters who passed the 2021 SPOS, we were able to build this beautiful state-of-the-art building that you're in right now, and it's completely debt-free. They will be able to tour the building and see all the programs and innovative things that are going on in this building after mention I get them all. 2023-24 was an exciting year for our 42 schools and one academy of creative education. 55,206 students and 8,121 staff members in academics, fine arts, athletics, and much more. We celebrated 150 years of Forsyth County Schools this past year. Our student enrollment growth has increased by 40% from 2013 to 2023. This year, our superintendent for the past 10 years, Jeff Bearden, announced his retirement. He leaves a lasting impact on our schools and community, especially during a global pandemic, and we're so grateful for his time with us. But we're thrilled to have Mitch Young, former deputy superintendent in this role, to carry on the legacy left by Dr. Bearden. Now let's learn more about our schools and where we're going by watching the 2024 State of the Schools video. After the video ends, I'd like to invite Superintendent Young to join me on stage to further discuss the state of the school. We promise Mitch and I are both kind of long-winded and tell stories, but we promise we can take all that time to do it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Darla Light. I'm chairman of the Forsyth County School Board. I've been on the school board for 16 years now, and when I started, I think we had 27,000 students. Now we have 55,000. Forsyth County Schools' mission is to provide an unparalleled education for all students. We want every child in Forsyth County to feel safe, connected, and to thrive. Our transition with Superintendent Young leading the way is going to be seamless. He has worked with our system. He was the main player in the strategic plan. He knows our system in and out. He knows how important the community is to everybody, how important relationships are. He knows how important it is that a child doesn't care what you know until a child knows that you care. That's been a motto for Forsyth County, and that's how we all feel. And when he takes over, I don't think we will miss a beat. We will keep moving forward into the future, and I look so forward to see what Forsyth County Schools do in the future.
Hi, I'm Mitch Young, and I am honored to be the new superintendent of Forsyth County Schools. The question I get all the time is, where are we going? What's next for Forsyth County Schools? But before we talk about that, I think it's really important to know how we got to where we are. And that begins with the wisdom of the leaders who came before me. That includes the governance teams and board members, and certainly the leadership of past superintendents like Eileen McGill and Paula Galt and Buster Evans, who really set the table for the success that we're having today. And then of course my predecessor and mentor, Dr. Jeff Bearden, who spent the past 10 years here, taking us to new levels of success, managing unimaginable growth that we've seen in this community, and then honestly leading us through some of the most tumultuous times that our nation has ever seen. I am completely honored to be at this point, but I also know that I stand on the shoulders of these giants. What I learned from Dr. Jeff Bearden, perhaps more than anything, is that success doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional. And one of the most intentional things we've done the past several years is put together a strategic plan that serves as the blueprint for our way forward. So when people ask me, where are we going? I'll just point out our strategic plan and say, that's where we're going. In that plan, there's 5 major areas that we focus on as the core work of Forsyth County Schools. We aim for operational excellence, for social-emotional health of all of our students and staff. We aim to provide a positive learner experience. We focus on staff recruitment and development, and in doing all these things, we hope to develop a culture and climate and a level of connection with our community that is unlike any other. The ultimate purpose of this strategic plan, of course, is to lead our students to exhibit the qualities that we have in our learner profile. This learner profile is a document that is decades old now, but has always been the North Star to guide the work of this county. In short, I believe the learner profile is the equivalent to what it means to be a productive American citizen. And that is certainly what we're trying to help our students become. We want them to become leaders when they lead Forsyth County Schools, and we want them to be the leading problem solvers, effective communicators, and selfless servers. Our formula for success really comes from the fact that we recognize that we are a people business. Dr. Bearden continuously reminded us that we are a people business, a relationship business. And that is really the key to understanding what makes Forsyth County Schools so special. There are 3 things that I believe are the keys to continued success in the future, and it really leverages all those relationships. The first of those keys is collaboration. Collaboration among the schools, collaboration between our system and our community, collaboration with parents and students. That collaboration, of course, unleashes innovation, and innovation has been the hallmark of Forsyth County Schools for so many years. The third key is accountability. We must hold ourselves accountable to what we say is important. That accountability comes from many sources, including our community and each other, and it's the key to getting better. You have to reflect on what you've accomplished, and then you have to assess that and sometimes readdress that so that you can continue to get better. I stand before you super optimistic about our future. Why? Because we continue to have families that value education. We continue to have business partners and community leaders that want to authentically engage with us and invest in our school systems to provide the best possible education for our kids. And we have citizens who care enough to hold us accountable, who engage in public discourse, who participate civically, and who support us when the need is clear. I am a parent of 2 Forsyth County Schools graduates. I'm a taxpayer and homeowner and have been for over 17 years. I've been a teacher and an administrator in the school system. There is not a day that goes by that I don't thank the Lord for allowing me to live, educate, and lead in this community. I make this pledge to you that we in Forsyth County Schools will continue to make this a safe, connected, and thriving experience for your students. We will continue to provide an unparalleled education that will prepare your children for their futures. Thank you.
So excited to have you serving as our newest superintendent of Forsyth County Schools. And I know you're no stranger to the school district or the community, but will you please share a bit about yourself for the chamber family?
Sure, a little history lesson. So, speaking of history real quick, Derek, were you here when it was the Mustangs, or were you a part of the Golden Nuggets era?
Golden Nuggets was the full name.
He's
Okay.
not hardly that old.
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna get a Mustang shirt out. I'm glad we didn't go there. So, a little bit about my background. I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, a small dairy farm community. And I think anybody that's from up north, well, let me back up. When I first met my wife, who's from Valdosta, Georgia, nationally, and she came to visit me in Pennsylvania, she got off the plane and couldn't believe all the land. She's like, so I dug at that a little bit. I think she thought everything north of the Mason-Dixon line looked like Newark, New Jersey. And the reality is most of everything in Pennsylvania between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh is just dairy farms. And so I grew up in a small community, very small community, K-12 high school in town. My dad was the basketball coach there. And in town, a little general store that was owned and operated by my grandfather, where he was also the postmaster. So yeah, I grew up in this little town, and between my dad and grandpa, I guess I felt like I was a big deal, well connected. But I think more importantly, growing up as I did in the 70s and early 80s, that was the height of the Cold War, and I everything that we did in school was all about pride in America. It was just pounded into us. It didn't mean we didn't have things in our background that were covered up. I mean, certainly we looked at all parts of American history. Some probably were not as celebrated as well as they should have been, and I'm glad we're working on that today. But at the end of the day, we were all in it together in the Cold War. I mean, it was an existential threat that we faced. And so that was a big part of my upbringing. And so my dream was to get into the Air Force at some point. That didn't happen. So then I went on to college. I pursued my passion of coaching college basketball. And when my wife and I got pregnant, we decided we wanted a normal life. We moved to the Atlanta area where we could raise our daughter Alexis, and that was in 2000. And I started teaching at Shiloh High School that time. I think probably the biggest turning point in my life came while I was at Shiloh. 2001, I accepted Christ, began my spiritual journey, and shortly thereafter, 9/11 hit. And that really gave me where I sort of, in that same year, found a personal purpose in life. 2001 helped me crystallize my professional purpose as an educator, as a public school educator. And I look out there, Ed Shaddix, who's with Northside Hospital. We were together at Shiloh when I went through that transformation and found myself. And it became really clear to me as a public school educator, my job was to help get kids ready to be productive American citizens. And that sort of went back to my ability to serve my country that I didn't get to do in the Air Force. I could do it through education. And that's been my drive throughout. And that's I won't go through all the details of how I ended up to this point today, but 2007, we had our second child in 2003. We decided we wanted to raise our kids in a great community that valued education. And so we moved here in 2007, and we've been here for 17 years. During that time, I've been a teacher, an AP, a principal, and Jeff's right arm for 3 years, and got to learn a lot of lessons in those 3 crazy years that we just underwent. So proud and excited to be here today, but I share all that just so when we're talking and you wonder why I am the way I am, that gives you a little snippet about my backstory.
Okay, we knew that when we hired Mitch that it would be a seamless transition. He had been in all phases of the district. He's worked with everybody, and we knew that we wouldn't miss a beat moving forward, and that was very important to us. And he also believes in the mantra that we followed for a long, long time. And I'm sure all the people in the district know what I'm about to say. A child does not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that is the Forsyth County Schools mantra. You have to let a child know that you care about them before you can do anything else. And relationships is what our goal has been. And Mitch has always been all about relationships, and that's so important to us. So we knew we were doing the right thing. He was instrumental in developing our strategic plan for the next few years. I guess some of you have heard him speak about it. But
your favorite topic.
Yes, and I'm gonna reluctantly ask him to share a little about it. If y'all see me doing this, you'll know that's his cue. No, I'm kidding. He did a phenomenal job developing a strategic plan that's going to move Forsyth County into the future.
I'll just stick to the high points of that. The process of putting together the strategic plan and this was in 2022. It was sort of at the height of some of the culture war, some of the tension in our community. And I think the process that we went through together is what I'm most proud of. And we had just undergone where there was a lot of public participation at board meetings, which is outstanding. As a teacher, that's what I used to preach on, that you need to get involved and you need to, society is run by those who show up. And so it's important to have that. But it got a little intense. And I think one of the things we were able to do, I just read Jeff Henderson's book, if you're familiar with Jeff, a book called For, F-O-R. And the premise of that book is we spend a lot of time and energy talking about all the things we're against. If we want to move forward, we got to get on the same page about what we're for. And so that was sort of the driving theme behind the 22 to 27 strategic plan. And we brought together the community in a variety of settings, just like this, roundtables, where we had kind of like it's set up today. I don't know who put the tables together, but we had representatives from different ends of the political spectrum at the same table together. We had our Hindu leaders sitting with our Christian leaders and our Jewish leaders. We had students involved. We had parents of special needs students and regular ed students. We tried to get a cross section of everything in this community in these rooms that sat down and talk about. We did a SWOT analysis about what we thought were strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and then what we wanted to be known for as a school system. And at the end of that, we've got a shared set of core beliefs, and they're all focused on the idea that that respect is a two-way street, that empathy is vital, that helping kids find a strong sense of purpose is the key to engaging them in school. And so we articulated our beliefs. We had 5 major strategic areas that we focused on, which range from operational excellence to the social emotional well-being of our kids, to the learner experience, of course, our core work, keeping people focused on what we were for has helped us navigate forward in tumultuous times, and that's really the plan going forward.
Okay, this year's budget, I was going to talk about it a little bit. The 5 major objectives of this year's budget was to have a balanced budget, of course, safety and security, academic achievement and growth, and then recruitment and retention of our employees, and to keep a large system feeling small. The large system feeling small has always been a big objective for Forsyth County Schools. We don't want to get to be feeling like it's a mega school and each school has a lot of autonomy, and that's really important to us because they each serve a different population. There's a big difference in North Forsyth and South Forsyth and East Forsyth and West Forsyth, and everybody should have the ability to be able to cater to their students with what their students need, and that's very important to us. Ways that we're trying to ensure that all schools and students are safe, thriving, and connected. We have SROs at all the schools, 2 at the high schools, and we've increased the security. If you've been to a school, the sign-in, we've increased the security on who can go in and out of the schools and the signing in, which is important. And we're also expanding our safety center. They're moving to the building behind the main school board. And then that building is going to become, for special ed, the Future Center.
Special ed and Future Center.
The Future Center. And there'll be a centralized location. So that's going to make a lot of difference in how they can serve their population and the needs that they have. And we are also expanding the budget this year. Is an expansion for Mashburn. I think we said 30
new classrooms.
30 new classrooms for Mashburn. That is in the budget, and we're hoping to finish paying that off with future eSPLOS. So we're hoping that when it's finished, it will be a debt-free expansion too. That's what we're trying to do, is to use the monies that we have to keep everything going and without having to borrow money and issue bonds. We also have hired some additional support positions, and we've taken our staff. We restructured, thanks to Derek Hershey, we restructured the staff pay where we're competitive with all of the other communities around us, the other counties, so that we can keep our people and they're not going somewhere else just for more money. So we can even pay a little bit less money and they want to stay here because we're so good, right?
That's absolutely right.
In the past 10 years, we've gone from 4,200 full-time employees operating under a $297 million budget to 6,233 employees operating under a $645 million budget. And it built 9 new schools with 14,462 new students. We had our highest graduation rate ever at 96%. I think when I came on the board 16 years ago, we were like under 90. I remember a year or two after I was on, we were so excited to reach 90. And as you all know, when you start getting up in the 90s, moving a little bit is hard. So 96% is really phenomenal. And even with this much growth, we've got a strong history of high academic performance and financial accountability. All these measures are to make sure we're safe, connected, and thriving, and the relationships are key to making this happen. Mitch, which he's already said earlier on the video, I think, but we're a people business and a relationship business. And that's important. What does that mean to you?
Ooh, that's a big question. Yeah, and I think we've totally gone off any sort of script that Hannah hoped
Yeah,
to stay on.
I know. Sorry,
that's
Hannah.
good. Now, well, let me go back to something you said, if you don't mind, Darla, a minute ago about our how do you keep our community feeling small? And I just a news flash, we are a big school system. We're a very large school system at 55,000 kids.
Fifth in the state.
Fifth in the state. So the conversation about us, not becoming a large system, that's gone. That hay's in the barn. We're a big system. The real key is how do you continue to feel like a community in a small system, and that's where the relationships are so invaluable. It all comes down to the personal relationships, and that starts at the top. And by the top, I'm talking about our board members, and our board members are so accessible. And I know we've got some folks out here running for the board today, so I would just tell you what has made beginning in the school system, when that all starts off is these board members are accessible, they're working together, they do their homework, they're so professional, so that when we come in, if they don't have the answers, we've got that whole table you see behind Mr. Valdez out there, Mr. Cleveland, a table filled with educational experts that get them the information they need. So it starts there. And then when it comes to the real boots on the ground, you want to start at the top of each school, and that starts with our principals. And so we hire, the old saying, this is a business crowd. So you don't make money when you sell a house, right? You make money when you buy the house. If you buy wisely, that's where the big decision is made. It's going to ultimately help you make money. Well, for us, beginning with the end in mind is finding the right people to lead our schools and making sure that our principals are committed to our leader profile, which starts out with relationships and communication. So our principals know that the number one thing they've got to do is they've got to build relationships with their parents, with their students, with their district office, with their community partners. And if they're not committed to that, then they can't lead them for Forsyth County. But we have been blessed to have unbelievable principals that live that out. And as a result, each of our 43 schools, even though some of them are enormous, they still continue to feel like small schools because they're committed to making sure everybody gets plugged in, feels a sense of belonging, and that focus is never, ever going to end. That is the secret sauce to Forsyth County. This right here today is the secret sauce, the collaboration and relationships that spawn the innovation, and then the relational strength to be able to hold ourselves accountable. And I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I got to say what I really wanted to say. So.
But he did not give me the right leading. No, I'm kidding. As a lifelong resident of Forsyth County, I'm actually, I think, 8th generation Forsyth County, and a member of the Board of Education since 2009. I've seen a lot of changes in our county. I think when I graduated from high school, there was 27,000 people in the county. And now there's 55,000 students in the school system and 270,000 people in the county. So it's been, if you've been here a long time like me and Derek and Cindy and the ones that have been here, you know that there's been a lot of change. However, I've seen firsthand the importance of the relationships within our schools and how these relationships drive our success. And as a grandmother with grandchildren in our schools, I want to know how this will be maintained in the coming years, because I'm going to be gone, so I'm leaving it to you. What is your vision for the Forsyth County Schools moving forward?
Well, and I think we've probably touched on it in a million different ways, but going forward, if you just really, you're gonna love this answer, Dara, but if you look at our strategic plan, it is all about keeping relationships at the forefront. It's understanding that schools are only effective if kids and families are authentically engaged and are a part of it. It absolutely takes the entire community to make our schools successful. So that's one. Number two, though, is you have to have high expectations. And I think that's the other gift that we have in this community, is this community expects a lot from us. And by the way of academic achievement, but also in terms of safety, also in terms of services. So we have high expectations. And I think, I go back to my time as principal at Central, is what I hope is proof in the pudding in terms of my background. But what I was so proud of, and we've got folks out here that work at Central, we got there, so proud of is we were able to raise expectations on all those groups of kids who, we had teachers that really loved their students with disabilities or their students who were struggling with language. But the way of showing that love was to coddle them and not hold them to the same expectations as everybody else. And so the challenge was, hey, these students have got to pass the same milestones. They got to, graduating's not an option. But if you're going to have those high expectations, that's on the one hand. The other hand's got to be right there. The other hand's got to be right there providing support. And that's a lot of extra work. That's a lot of weekends and evenings. And so if you couple that support with high expectations, then the sky's the limit. And then that's where the accountability piece comes in. If we say something matters to us, then we have to measure it. We have to monitor the progress, and we've got to, course correct along the way to make sure that we're actually going where we are. So intentionality, I think it probably is the word that's at the root of my leadership style. Obviously the relationship piece is there. That's just sort of who I am and my background. But I think intentionality is what we have done so well, although I don't know that we've been intentional about talking about intentionality. Makes any sense. And again, I look over this table, and I'm just going to say this real quick. If you work for the district office for Forsyth County Schools, please stand up. These are the intentional thinkers that are constantly planning. Let's give them a hand. I'm not going to go through the names because I'll leave one off, and none of them deserve to be left off. But we are really, really blessed with the system.
We are, you're right. They're who make the world go around as far as the school system, the leadership. And for the 16 years that I've been on the board, I feel so blessed to have worked with all of them. I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss, which I'm hoping, they'll still let me come around every now and then. And
well, that was going to be my off-scripted question here. What are you going to miss the most when you step away from us?
I'm going to miss the people, the relationships, the not seeing everybody as much, but I'm hoping to continue that. And I'd love to go visit the schools and that kind of thing. But I've talked to him yesterday about doing the mentorship and that kind of thing. So there's always a lot of things that everybody can do in the school. So I'm hoping to kind of shift that way.
Well, I will just say, I think on behalf of all of us, your leadership, I refer to her as the godmother. She's been the godmother for Forsyth County Schools the last 16 years. But your leadership and the leadership of this gentleman out here, Tom Cleveland, who's always been a quiet leader, a very quiet leader that does his homework. For both of you, I just want to personally, I wanted to say thank you. And I think on behalf of our community, we owe these two a huge debt. So thank you guys.
It's been fun. It's been fun. I want to thank all of y'all for attending today, to care enough to come and see about the state of the schools. And I look forward to seeing all the great things that's gonna happen with Mitch at the helm. I feel like we're leaving it in great hands.
Thanks, Darla. I think I've got a few closing thoughts that we'll share here. And then we'll get you guys on your tours. So it was really my honor today to be able to talk to a lot of folks out here that I've known for a long time. We have quite a legacy to uphold. I look forward to taking these steps into our future with this entire community by our side. The school system, the school systems around us they're working harder because of us. And I think that's a real testament to our community, a real testament to our school system. Several of us, we go to workshops, we go to conventions and so forth. And I think everywhere we go, we're constantly asked, well, what are you guys doing for site? How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with that? So that's something all of us, I think all of us in this room should be proud of. Yesterday, in our new educator orientation, we welcomed over 400 new educators into Forsyth County Schools. I shared the same information with them, challenging them to build relationships and build those connections every day in every classroom with every child. As we move into the 24-25 school year, we continue to be dedicated to having a safe, connected, and thriving community for all. We need the involvement and support of all students. We need the support of all parents and guardians, our faculty and staff, and we need the continued support of our community. If you're new or returning parent or guardian, or if you're an FCS employee today, or if you're watching this virtually, let me just say we are so glad that you are part of this family. And we really do think of this, I think that's another key to us continuing to feel like a small community, is we've got to continue to be a family. And by the way, I don't know about your family, but my family, we fight. We have lots of fights, and that's okay. It's okay to fight. That innovation sometimes spawns from different ideas. But at the end of the day, we've got to be united about what we're for. And I think that's going to be so important if we want to continue this success that we've been a part of for these last 20-some years. Okay, enough for me. We're excited for you now to be able to tour Midway Elementary. The school, I don't know, did you mention this? If not, I'm going to read my script here. The school is named Midway. It is the midpoint connecting the communities of Cumming and Alpharetta. Midway was expanded from a school serving a rural farming community to currently being globally diverse, as you probably saw on the stage today. Currently have 23 different languages or cultures represented at Midway. Midway has been awarded the Family Friendly Award and School of Excellence by the state of Georgia. Is Daphne in here, or is she still running around? Daphne, the principal here, she's probably out handling that stuff. This is a Leader in Me school focused on Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's 136,920 square feet with a capacity for 1,200 students. The exterior design concept, Matt Mark here from our facilities department, right, was designed to complement Denmark High School next door. Goes into a lot more details. I think probably it'd be better just to experience this. So at this point, let me just say thank you all for your support of Forsyth County Schools. Thank you for coming out today. I would love for you to take a tour of Midway Elementary. You've got maps in your program. You can take a self-guided tour. If you get lost, there will be students and folks around to help you. But let's make this a great school year. God bless you all. God bless Forsyth County Schools. Have a great day.